of Taiwan. I'm Tiffany Wong with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. The presidential office says President Lai Ching-te will sign newly passed amendments into law, but has not specified when. The president's secretary general said that the presidential office had received the paperwork and would complete it within the 10-day deadline to promulgate bills. The bills will affect the function of the Constitutional Court, the allocation of government revenue, and the recall process.
总统作为宪政的守护者、宪法的守护者，当然会依法公布。在什么时候在完成这个程序？目前呢，总统府在昨天下午，好像是傍晚的下午的时候，有收到这个样的这个支文，但目前还没进入到程序，所以我还没办法给委员一个明确的答案。
Pan also refused to comment on whether the executive branch, which is separate from the presidential office, would call for reviews or injunctions of the amendments. In a stunning blow to President Lai Ching-te, Taiwan's legislature rejected all 7 of his constitutional court nominees, just as new amendments are set to impact the functions of the court. Under the changes, the court would need 10 justices to hear cases and 9 to make a ruling on constitutionality. Vacancies would also have to be filled within 2 months. The court currently stands at only 8 justices, just over half of the total seats. To learn about how these amendments would work with just a partial court, I spoke with Dr. Yen-Tu Su, research professor at Academia Sinica. I began by asking him if other branches of government will seek to block the controversial amendments.
The very constitutionality of these amendments are questionable or are at issue at this time. And so many people are trying to figure out ways for the court to review the very constitutionality of this amendment. And now we can expect that the executive yuan might probably propose the reconsideration of this amendment in 10 days after it received the bill. But once the reconsideration process is finished, the president will probably still promulgate this amendment. But soon the controversy will go directly to the Constitutional Court, and the Constitutional Court can try to figure out ways to review the constitutionality of these amendments.
But if they try to make a ruling on constitutionality with the current number of justices, only 8, that's not enough to make a ruling. Does that mean that it would just be stuck?
Taiwan Constitutional Court, unfortunately, is not the only constitutional court facing this kind of challenge. So back in 2015, the Poland Constitutional Tribunal also faced this kind of attack on the Constitutional Court, and they developed a jurisprudence trying to explain why the court is not bound by this kind of rule manipulation and can still maintain its role in overseeing the constitutionality of law. But certainly we would expect lots of controversy here, and many people will just criticize the court for not following the new rules. It's quite unfortunate that the Taiwan Constitutional Court is further mired in the political controversy here, and certainly its authority will be attacked and eroded further on.
On Tuesday, we saw the legislature reject all 7 of President Lai Ching-te's judicial nominees. Have we ever seen this before in the legislature? What happened with the picks there? And what can we predict going forward with Lai's next round of nominees?
Well, what happened yesterday was indeed a tragedy in Taiwan. It might go down to a sad day in Taiwan's history because all 7 nominees to the Constitutional Court were rejected by a purely partisan party line votes. I mean, that's sad. It's bad politics. It's petty politics. And all sides are playing politics. And that means that it will further politicize the judicial selection process to the court. And it will certainly affect the impartiality and the independence of the court. So President Lai already said that he regrets the result, but he will continue to nominate new justices to the court. But most of the 7 nominees he nominated last time were considered fine jurists, fine lawyers, constitutional lawyers or criminal lawyers in Taiwan. And we still have people who are qualified to sit on the court, but you might sense some hesitation among the potential nominees because once they accept the nomination, it means that they will be subject to this kind of unfair treatment by the legislature. And so I think that would be a bad for Taiwan in the long run, because it would discourage many competent, qualified jurists to serve on the court.
That was Yan Tu Su, research professor at Academia Sinica. 75 people have died of the flu in Taiwan since October, a 10-year high. Over 90,000 cases of influenza-like illness were reported last week, a 16% increase from the week before. Taiwan Centers for Disease Control say the country is on the brink of a flu epidemic, with severe cases, particularly among the elderly, reaching critical levels. They anticipate cases to peak around the Lunar New Year and are encouraging people to get vaccinated. 4 police dogs in Taiwan have been formally honored and sent into retirement. Central Taiwan's police force put the dogs up for adoption and vetted applicants thoroughly to make sure the dogs would go to great homes to live out the rest of their lives. Leslie Liao has more.
Tiny, Candy, Pinky, and Bobby are 4 good boys and girls who have kept the public safe for years. People may not know it, but these dogs and their nimble noses have done everything from patrolling the streets to sniffing for contraband. After an illustrious career in public service, they're being let go. Not because of poor performance, but because they've reached the ripe old retirement age of 7. The 4 dogs were put up for adoption. But because of their good work, their handlers went out of the way to make sure that they were going to good homes. Close to 100 people applied to take the dogs.
总面积的话是700平，就是一个院子，让他们能够快乐。
At their honors ceremony, the dogs were presented with hordes of new toys, treats, and goodies, all so they can focus on enjoying their retirement instead of taking a bite out of crime. Eason Pan and Leslie Liao for TaiwanPlus.
An invasive vine species has been threatening Taiwan's native plant life. For years, environmentalists have been tackling the problem head-on. But a group of culinary students have now come up with a new way to help root out this ecological threat. Wesley Lewis has more.
Environmentalist Mr. Liu has been tackling one of Taiwan's most problematic invasive species, the Macania vine. Often referred to as the mile-a-minute vine or the plant killer, its ability to grow on top of other plant species and snuff them out has earned it another name, green cancer.
它的茎每天能长27公里，它会在另外植物的时候窜出来，其他的植物的阳光就遮掉了。
Native to the Americas, Macania were brought to Taiwan in the 1970s. Considered one of the world's top 100 invasive species, it thrives in warm, humid climates and quickly became a pest in Taiwan, taking over agricultural fallows across the country. In 2003, the government introduced an eradication plan, and in over 2 decades, environmentalists like Mr. Liu have worked to rid more than 500 square kilometers of land of the invasive plant. But they say their work is not done.
要移除它已经是不可能的所以我们要想办法如何跟它共处。
Environmentalists say its seeds slip past detection during eradication efforts, making it nearly impossible to fully eliminate the invasive plant. But a new initiative led by a group of culinary students in southern Taiwan is looking to help suppress the vine by turning it into a delicacy.
咸派是用香泽兰，我们把香泽兰的叶子洗完，然后干燥，然后撕成那个粉状，然后也是一样打到塔皮里面去烤。
These aspiring chefs have already begun promoting their Macania recipes with packaged products and fresh pastries. While the invasive plant continues to pose an ecological threat, these students, along with environmentalists, remain resolute, working to keep one of Taiwan's most pervasive non-native species in check, bringing it out from the forests and fields and onto your plate. Joseph Wu and Wesley Lewis for TaiwanPlus.
Japanese Prime Minister Ishiba Shigeru wants to meet with incoming U.S. President Donald Trump as soon as possible.
この北東アジアの情勢について認識を一にするということは大事なことだと思っております。時期は最も適当な時期をこれから選んでまいりますし、相手のあることでございますので、こちらが一方的に言えることではございませんが。
Speaking at a news conference, Ishiba said the meeting would aim to strengthen Japan's alliance with the U.S. Ishiba has pushed for a meeting with Trump since he entered office in October, but the two cannot meet until Trump officially becomes president on January 20th. Survivors of a sinking Russian cargo ship in the Mediterranean Sea have arrived on the shores of Spain. The ship, the Ursa Major, sank after a reported engine room explosion. 14 of the 16 crew members have been rescued by nearby cargo ships and the Spanish Navy. 2 are still missing, according to Russia's foreign ministry. The cause of the explosion is unknown. Christmas festivities have been suspended in the historic city of Bethlehem this year, as Israel's attacks on Gaza continue. In the Christian tradition, the city of Bethlehem, located in the occupied West Bank, is the birthplace of Jesus. For thousands of years, pilgrims have flocked to the city's Church of the Nativity for the holiday. But this year, the streets and church remain dark as the majority Palestinian population mourns the tens of thousands killed in Gaza over the past year. Christmas celebrations are going on across Asia, with massive parties, Christmas markets, lights, and even a Santa diving with penguins. Cadence Carranza reports.
It's the most widely celebrated holiday in the world. And here in Taiwan, tens of thousands of people flock to New Taipei for this massive Christmas party. With performances, games, and a giant LED light show. Even the city's mayor joined the celebration, sharing his wishes for the new year.
都能够满满的收获，我们更期待明年在大家的祝福底下，新北市会越来越好。
Across Asia, where the Philippines and East Timor are the only predominantly Christian countries, Christmas, which marks the birth of Jesus Christ, has been widely commercialized. And while many don't celebrate the holiday for religious reasons, they still join in on holiday traditions. Leading the festivities, the Philippine capital Manila is festooned with decor as early as September, as the country celebrates the longest Christmas season in the world. In Tokyo, Christmas lights sparkle across the city, and at one aquarium, people gathered to watch a diver dressed as Santa swim with African penguins.
ペンギンも可愛かったし、従業員さんがサンタの格好をして出てきてくれたのが盛り上がってて、すごい可愛く感じました。
Crowds of people shop at stalls in a Christmas market in Seoul. And in Bangkok, a viral mascot called Butter Bear dances to pop songs in a Christmas outfit. In Beijing, hundreds of Catholics attended a Christmas Eve Mass as police stood outside. Christianity has been suppressed in China, with the demolition of churches and persecution of priests, as the Chinese Communist Party aims to control religious groups, fearing they may challenge the CCP's authority. Still, people crowded into Christmas markets in Shanghai, complete with mulled wine and a merry-go-round. Whether people celebrate it religiously or join in just for the fun and tradition of it all, the Christmas spirit can be felt across Asia, a reason to end the year with hope and cheer. Alex Chen and Cadence Carranza for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. You can visit the TaiwanPlus website or follow our social media for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Before we go, we're heading to London for a Christmas carol celebration at Westminster Abbey. I'm Tiffany Wong. Take care and see you next time.
For more stories from Taiwan and around the world, download the TaiwanPlus app.